Morning, folks, and welcome to Mobility Matters. I am your host, Javier Betancourt, Executive Director of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, or CITT for short. We're the agency of Miami-Dade County charged with overseeing your half-penny sales tax for transportation. I have a wonderful guest and a longtime friend with me today that I'd love to introduce. Alejandra, or Alex Argudin, is the CEO of the Miami Parking Authority, or MPA. We like acronyms here.
That's right.
Welcome to the show, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Javi.
No, my pleasure. And you and I go way back from
Yes,
my
we
days
do.
at the Miami Downtown Development Authority.
Yes, we do. And thank you for having me. You know, I was mentioning to you earlier that I typically don't do these or I like to shy away from these, but as a longtime friend, I would love to sit here and chat with you.
No, and it's going to be fun. We're going to have a great time. So where were you on the night of, no, just kidding. It's not that kind of show. So Alejandra, tell us about the Miami Parking Authority. Let's start there.
So the MPA, well, as we like to call it, right, the acronym, is we manage all the public parking for the city of Miami. We've grown the operation quite a bit. We also manage the operations for the Jackson Memorial Hospital, or the Public Health Trust, along with Miami-Dade County's parks. And then just recently, now on June 5th, we're going to go live at Doral, City of Doral.
Wow.
Yeah. So, we are also doing different developments throughout the city. You know, some of our older structures, which is new for us, where we're also including housing along with our parking structure. So we'll have public parking structures, and we'll have residents above those structures. So, it's been 3 years since I've been in this position. And as a CEO,
you've been with the organization much longer.
For 16 years
16
now.
years, wow.
It's going to be 17 years now. And so it's been an interesting ride in these past 3 years. As you know, during the pandemic, it was tough walking in a week prior to the pandemic hitting.
Wow.
But my predecessor was great. He was a great teacher, and someone that really was able to teach me the ropes of the Miami Parking Authority.
And he didn't go too far away.
No, he didn't. He was right. I could strangle him from where I was
So
at.
Art Noriega, let's just call him out.
Noriega, yeah.
Who's now the city manager.
Our city manager. But imagine, he goes into the city and all of a sudden the pandemic hit. So, that transition was like, hey, where are you at? And he's like, I really can't help you right now. Right. So it was an interesting transition, but I have great staff. We have a great organization. I would say we're top in the country as to what we do. And we're proud of what we do. And so anything that we can provide anybody in the city or the county, we will, related to parking. And I'm glad that we've been able to, throughout that time, foster good relationships with the county and strengthen our relationships with the city as well.
Yeah, and you really do so much more than just parking. But even within the parking realm, there's so much you do, right? And bringing innovations and everything in. But let's start with the organization itself. So many cities have a parking department.
That's right.
But this is a little different. So tell us about the authority, its relationship to the city of Miami, why it's kind of independent. What's the history there?
So we were established by the state.
Oh, okay.
And then we were taken in to the city as an extension of the city. But we are managed by a 5-member board. And so we are semi-autonomous is what we call it. And so it gives us a lot of flexibility to do a lot of things. We are able to do these developments and be able to give back to the city as well. So the city does control certain things, like they approve our budget. They ratify our budget, they ratify our board members, and if we have to go for bond issuances, they also are responsible for that. We have to go before the commission for that kind of approval, and all the rates are also approved by the city.
Okay.
So any rate changes or any changes to the chapter, the ordinance has to go before the city. But we do have a 5-member board of private citizens that either live or work in the city, and they've been great. They're business people, and so we try to run our entity as such. But we have a responsibility to the public, and as a public servant, I take a lot of pride in providing the citizens with the best customer service, the best service we can provide.
That's great. And so let's talk about, we'll stay on parking for a second, because it is an important part of the mobility and transportation conversation. And the future of parking is uncertain, right? That's so right. As we start to introduce potentially in the future autonomous vehicles, rideshare, obviously it's already a thing and it's just going to continue to grow. What do you see as the future of parking, and how is MPA kind of adapting to that?
So interesting enough, that's been a long conversation that we've had in the industry, right? And what are we going to do with the parking structures? And so a lot of parking structures are now being built flat, flat floors, floor plates. So
For
in the
conversion.
future, you could convert.
Interesting.
You also have, when Ford was here and they were testing out their autonomous vehicle, and that happened for years. I think it was upwards of probably 4 to 5 years that we were in conversations with them.
Yeah, we all saw that guy running around with the little camera.
That's
on top.
right. And they and I'll tell you, it was an interesting concept, and I hope that they still take that concept and they apply it. They're not going to take all that information that they learned and all that data that they learned and not apply it.
Right.
But so that was very valuable. But one of the things that we were in conversations with them on was, okay, why don't we use some of our parking structures at night, the ones that were sitting vacant at night. Now that doesn't happen very much because, as you know, the downtown is getting very populated. So we do have a lot of evening traffic, which is great. That's what you want in a parking structure, shared use, office use in the morning, and you want the residents at night. And so you constantly have a full garage. But at the time, we did have a garage that we're going to redevelop now, that we wanted them to come in at night and test. How does an autonomous vehicle come into a garage? How do they park itself? We were providing the parking lots for Ford, planning for the future of where do they come, where do they park at night, where do they service them, so that then they could be in a centralized location and go from there in the mornings. So it was a well thought out process. This is something we talked to them for many years on. This was constant conversations with them. And I think in the future, autonomous vehicles are going to continue to have that conversation with us because we do have a lot of that public parking inventory, which we manage. Most of it, of the lots that you see, are managed for FDOT. So they're FDOT lots, but they're in very good locations for the type of service that they want to provide those cars in the evenings.
Right.
And so I will tell you, after the pandemic, we've seen an increase in vehicles, not a decrease in vehicles, right? And so in the industry, there was always like a 50-50. Are we going to have a reduction in vehicles? And right now, we're not seeing that. We're not seeing it. We're not experiencing that in our facilities right now. But we're not overbuilding either. We're building for the need that is around. And as you know, like in the CBD, if you build residential, you don't have to build parking. So we want to be able to provide that public parking when needed and not have to overbuild. But then it gives developers the opportunity to build, higher density without having to build more parking per se.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, and I think it's our responsibility to talk to the private sector, the private operators, as to doing more shared use. There's a lot of parking. I know people don't think that there is, but there is. Just people like to circle. They like to park in front.
They want it right in front of where they're
Yes,
going.
including myself. But you have to realize that there's a lot of inventory.
Ironically, that's only in the case in urban areas. When you go to a mall, you're willing to
Agreed.
park,
100%.
3 football fields
That's
down
right.
there, and it's normal.
Yeah,
And that's just to
right.
get to the front door. You're not even at your retail location
That's
yet.
right.
And yet, when you're like in the city, you feel I need to park right in front of that restaurant. Doesn't make sense.
I was
to me.
talking to Eileen Clay about that, and he's like, it's the mindset, right?
Yeah.
It's the mindset just changes wherever depending where you are. In downtown, no way I'm gonna walk in heels in the heat, the weather, and I'm just gonna circle, for an hour until you find a parking space. Mind you, there's a parking garage, and our parking facilities are not very expensive to park at, right? We try to keep the price down. We try to keep the market to keep the prices down. But I do feel that it has to be a little bit of a mindset change. But we do want to be able to provide that. Still, that public parking. When people build without parking, they're like, yeah, we're building without any parking spaces. People go and they live there, and then they're calling us, hey, I need a parking space, So people need to realize that you're living in an urban core. There's so many options. There are abilities to take a freebie. There are abilities to take the last mile. Everybody always talks about the last mile, but the last mile is very important if you want people to take the mass transit, and be able to park and go to wherever they have to go. And so as you may know or not, our parking structures are always interceptors. So our parking structures are never in the middle of a dense area. They're always on the outskirts. Why? Because you're trying to intercept the car from coming in and then taking the last mile option, right? And so for us, we started providing a freebie so that people could come park, or they could take the metro and then take a freebie, which is a circulator that we started doing in and around downtown areas, which has tremendous utilization, more than what we ever expected.
Is that free to the user at that point?
It's free to the user.
Okay, so you drive into a parking garage on the outskirts of town. You park your car. You're paying for that.
You're paying for that, but
then on your app,
50%.
50%, right? You keep the prices low. Thank you
Yes,
for that.
we do.
Appreciate it. I wish you were Miami Beach as well. So you're paying for parking, but you may still have a number of blocks to go to get to your destination. What do? You download an app.
You have the freebie app.
Got your
You
freebie.
download, and they come and they pick you up.
Picks you up where you are.
Exactly. Or you could flag them. If you're somewhere and you see them and you don't have the app available on your phone, you could flag them. If they have capacity, they'll go and pick you up. And then there are, there's an area by which they circulate.
Right.
They don't go out of that area, but the area is pretty big.
What
It
areas
covers
do
the
you serve
CBD. So it serves, right now we're in the CBD, so it goes all the way from right before you go to Brickell, so right before the bridge, and it goes all the way down to Fifth Street. So and it goes to the museums as well. So it covers
That's a good
quite a bit,
area.
and Bayside all the way down to
And
the
it's
metro.
door to door.
Yeah, door to door. And so we have that not only there, but we started providing the same service in Coconut Grove.
Right.
So Coconut Grove is just it's a new little city,
Yeah.
you know,
It's really
and
blown up. Yeah.
it's completely blown up. The restaurants, there's a lot of busy daytime and nighttime, which was in the case a couple of years ago, right? And so now parking has become tight. And some places are very expensive to park. And my car itself, I have a big car, it doesn't fit in the garages right now. I hit every time I go. There's the two garages that I go to, they hit, so I have to find parking on the street. Or we build a garage now right next to City Hall, and it's a beautiful garage. And we park there, and we actually now started a circulator there about a couple of months ago, and so that it takes people into the Grove and right back out, back to the garage too, so that they don't have to circulate. They could just go and park in our garage.
That's a wonderful system. So you got parking both on street, garage parking. You're providing a micro transit solution for that first last mile. Now let's move on to development, right?
Okay.
So a lot of people don't know that you guys are developers, really. I mean, you've developed a number of structures in the past, not just garages, and you continue to play in that field. So what are you up to?
So it's we have older structures. But our structures are 50 plus years old, and great development opportunity. There's much needed housing. The downtown is growing and changing. Revolutionizing. The way we do business in downtown. And so we had these parking structures that are dated, and we knew that we had to do something with them. And we had one of my garages that for about 400 spaces, only daytime use, nothing else. And then at 5 or 6 o'clock, we used to shut it down. So many years ago, we put out an RFP. There was a developer that came in, and they sold that development, and the developers that we're working with now have been incredible to work with. They are building the parking structure for us. It's about 700 spaces, so 300, about 700, so approximately 700, 300 more than what we had before, with 700 units, residential units above. That will
retail liners. Right?
That's right, a retail liner.
And as an urban planner, that's near and dear to my heart.
It
Right?
is.
You don't want to kill the block.
And it's incredible because what the city has required from us is that we also add 20% of our parking structure will be EV ready. EV is a big topic right now. And are we seeing the utilization on electric vehicles? Not right now, because we do have EV charging stations in all our facilities, but that's coming. I think
growing,
that's going to grow. And so it's good that we're ready for it, and that we're providing places for people to park their bicycles inside. And something that I want to do is also have shared utilizations of bicycles, not only for people to have bike racks there. We don't do anything with bike racks, so people are taking their bikes back up into their houses, which is what's happening in a lot of these apartments. But maybe provide shared use of bikes, so you could also have that last mile from there.
Kind of like City Bike and those different
absolutely
programs.
Yeah. And so we have that development going
and scooters?
on. And scooters.
Well, to the extent there are a lot in the city.
Exactly. To the extent, but there's a lot of people who have their private scooters. Right. I'll tell you.
True.
And we're seeing a little bit of a pickup on that, especially in the CBD. And then so we have the Garage 3, which I am sure you're familiar with. It's the one across from Miami-Dade College. Right. That's 1,350 spaces. And so that's going to start probably in the beginning Q2 probably of next year. So that's coming down and going to get rebuilt with 1,200 units above that. And so those two projects are going to be in tandem. One is going to be probably finishing while one is starting. So all this happened all at the same time. Then our latest project, which it's just a different project. It's not my proudest project because they all I'm happy about all of them and changing changing what downtown is going to look like. And I think us being a part of that is going to be very important because all that parking is still going to be public parking that we're providing, and it's much needed. But we did a partnership. We're doing a P3 with Aberdeen down by Biscayne and 74th.
Okay.
And so I'll tell you why that one is important.
So Upper East Side, what would you call that area?
Yeah, Upper East Side. And I think that one's important because it's a very linear district, and there's not a lot of parking there. And so it kind of it stops the growth for developers because they only could build 4 stories or maybe 6 stories. They can't build more than that. And part of that is because the restrictions that are there. It's a historical district. And so for us to be able to add parking to that area, it will unlock the ability for developers to build
Right.
in that area and for us to be able to provide the parking. And for that to happen and that be a part of this area being able to bloom further, that's important to me. That's important for the residents that are there that are having issues with people coming into their neighborhoods. And so I think that's important for us to be a part of that and be up there. We've never had a structure or any public parking providing up there in the Upper East Side. So
it's catalytic, right? That's what people don't, so you're parking folks, you're moving them around, you're giving them places to live and shop. So, well beyond just Miami Parking Authority being a parking provider. So you're expanding in all sorts of areas and different parts of the county. But let's set aside that for a second. Let's talk about you. So you said you've been with the Parking Authority for a number of years. What was some of your experience and your background before that?
So I was 14 years at the city of Miami.
Okay.
So I grew up in the city of Miami. And I actually was born and raised in Little Havana. And so it's a dear place for me. And I do want to see the city grow and succeed and change and revolutionize. And it's so different from when I started. I used to work at the DuPont Plaza on the water. Okay. So imagine that's where I started, and I used to come from high school and work 2 hours a day. And so the city gave me a great start, and they gave me great opportunities to learn. And I'm infinitely grateful to that. And so I was there for 14 years. I worked in the asset management department.
Okay.
And then from there, I went to public facilities. And so from there, I transferred over to the Miami Parking Authority, never thinking, I would do parking for a living, and what do? You park cars for a living. And I've made a career of it, and I love every moment of it. It's challenging. Every day it's something new. But I love to resolve problems. I did the operations. I was on the operations side for all the 16 years I've been there, except these past 3 years that I got the opportunity to run the organization. And so I'm very proud of that.
Okay. And you're a Golden Panther, I believe?
I'm a Golden Panther all the way. Yes, I sit in the President's Council.
Oh, great.
And so I'm very proud of what FIU has been able to do. It's crazy so when I started going back to FIU as an alumni, and seeing the different, I got lost in FIU.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
It's its own city.
It's its own city. And so I'm very proud of what they've been able to do. The business school, the medical school, the law school. I was there for the president's.
What did you study?
Business. I did.
Business
I
administration.
have business administration. I got my master's in business as well from FIU. Yeah.
Sure.
So
Go Panthers.
Go Panthers.
Right, and finally, we only have a little bit of time left, but I definitely want to ask you about an organization you're involved with, which I know is near and dear to your heart, WOW Center. So tell us about the WOW Center and your role.
So the WOW Center is, yes, it's very dear to my heart. It's my passion. It's a center for adults with disabilities, or what we like to say with abilities, different abilities. And my sister-in-law is a member of the WOW Center. And so I became very involved with the center just as a board member. And now I'm the chair of the board.
Congratulations.
Very proud of what they do. It's incredible. It's an underserved community. It's a community that goes unseen unless you have a family member or someone with a disability, right? And people don't realize that as long as they're young and they have a place to go, it's great. But as they get older and you get an aging population, and their parents, grow or pass, what happens with them? And so it's my mission to shine a light on this organization and shine a light on not only them. There's several of them that have adults and they need funding and they need a place to be. They need a place to live. And this organization in particular is interesting because they take these individuals, they give them all these life experiences and then put them out in the workforce. And they just bring a ray of sunshine to your day. When I'm down, that's where I would like to go. That's where I like to go. I like to sit. They make me smile every day because they don't carry the weight that we do, right? They think everything is phenomenal. They look at life very differently than we do. It's
matter of perspective. Right?
It's a matter of perspective. And so we have a campaign going on right now. We're building a new building because we have a 200 people wait list.
Wow.
With nowhere to go. And so we're building a building. And we are doing a campaign right now to, everybody who has come in and people that you even know that have given their services to us for free. Engineers, architects, lawyers, and we're very grateful to the county. The county it's a county property, is where they're at, and the county has been amazing to us to build a new building to provide a new location for hopefully upwards of 200 more individuals. So I'm grateful that you asked me about that because it's something that I carry with me, and I hope to be a part of that organization for as long as I can.
No, that's amazing, and thank you for giving back because I know your day job isn't easy and takes up a lot of time. So for you to carve out time to do that is really commendable. So thank you. If people want to learn more about that organization, how to get involved, potentially donate,
yes.
Where should they go?
wowcenter.org. And you can go in there and we have all kinds of information as to what we do and how you can donate. And you have any questions, you could always contact me, and I'll be more than glad to show you the way.
We won't put your cell phone out on the air. But
thank you. I appreciate that.
But they can find your contact information
Absolutely.
and more about the parking authority at
miamiparking.com.
There you go, miamiparking.com and wowcenter.org.
Yes.
And if you're interested in joining the CITT's board of directors or to become a CITT ambassador and be our eyes and ears on the transit system, you can visit our webpage, miamidade.gov /CITT. That was a good segue to plug in my program. So thank you for that. Alejandra, thank you for everything you do. Thank you for being a guest on the program. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, so I'm going to have to let you go, but I hope you come back and visit us again to share all the updates.
Thank you for having me, Avi. Thank you so
pleasure.
much. Bye. Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right,
too.
bye.
Folks, that's all the time we have here on Mobility Matters. Once again, we'd like to thank our partners in this endeavor, Community Newspapers, for producing the show and hosting us here in this wonderful facility where we have some of Alejandra's structures behind us. Please visit us every 2 weeks, every other Thursday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. You'll find us on Facebook Live and on all the other social media platforms. Please continue to follow us and have a great day.